Wholesaling is a scam. Wholesalers are scammers taking advantage of homeowners, and also real estate investors are taking advantage of homeowners, stealing equity, blah, 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 blah. Guys, have you ever heard this kind of comments? I see it all the time, not only on my videos, but even when I'm training newbies, right, that are looking to get started in their real estate journey. And obviously the best way is to start with real estate wholesaling. Why? Because you don't need no money, you don't need experience, you don't need credit. This is just a marketing and sales business where you find homeowners that have some sort of distress, whether that be death, financial, right? And then maybe it's a beat up home. So you put them under contract and then you sell that contract for a fee. So you're not the one who's buying the home. It is an end buyer that we call a cash buyer that buys your contract, right? And so people say, so you have like the newbie, for example, right? Thinking there's two trains of thoughts with the newbie that we're going to address today. And then you have the realtor who just complains and complains and complains. And we're going to talk about all this. At the end of this video, you're going to realize that actually this is just a mindset issue. Right? This is just a perspective issue, because remember, guys, there's a saying that, you know, if you change the way you see things, then things are going to start to change. And at the end of this video, you're going to realize that it's actually your responsibility as a newbie to call these homeowners and help them. Yes, I use the term helped, and we're going to go through it. Every single house tells a story, and today, guys, is story time. If you don't know me, my name is Mamadou Diallo. I made a whole playlist explaining exactly how I started my journey with this concept right here that helped me quit my corporate job probably about 5 years ago. So make sure you check it out. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so for the newbies that think, so the other day I was training a newbie, right, one-on-one, and he's like, Mamadou, the reason I am not calling these homeowners, or even when I try to call, I feel bad trying to negotiate them, put them under contract at a discount so I can sell that contract and make a fee, whether that be a $10,000 fee, whether that be a $15,000 fee, because I feel like I am still in equity. And you know what's funny, guys, is not only there's homeowners sometimes that feels that way, but there is also people that watch, you know, investors like me, and they leave comments below, oh, you just took advantage of this homeowner. Like, you can post a video saying, I just saved the homeowner out of foreclosure, and then we ended up making $10,000. And the first comment you see is, oh, so you just took advantage of a homeowner. No, we didn't take advantage of the homeowner, we actually helped. So there's two trains of thoughts when it comes to the newbies, the people that are trying to get into real estate through wholesaling, that feel bad about calling homeowners and negotiating with these homeowners, help them, put them under contract and pay and get paid for the solution that you provided for these homeowners on the table, right? The first one is a genuine one, right? So there is the people that, hey, I truly love helping people. And so the reason I want to get into this business is to help people, but I feel like I'm taking advantage of them. And the reason for that is because the house don't belong to me. I'm calling them, I'm negotiating them, and then I am just selling the piece of paper, making a fee on the house I don't own. Right? And so it's an emotional thing, right? So emotionally they feel bad. They don't feel like they deserve the money that they just made. That's the first thing, right? The second thing is the person that actually just uses that as a cop-out mechanism. There's also those kind of people, meaning they go, you know what, I want to get into real estate. I would love to start by wholesaling because I don't have the money, I don't have good credit, whatever the case may be. But I just found out that although is a simple business model, it is absolutely not going to be easy. I found out that I have to call people. I have to call maybe 99 people, get 88 no's before I get a yes. So I have to be comfortable being uncomfortable on the phone, talking to strangers, get cussed out, get hung up on, rejection. I have to deal with rejection, right? And then, or I have to send text messages all day, then follow up with those text messages, or I have to go out and put vendor signs, or have to network with people that are called wholesalers and help them sell their deals, whatever the case may be. But I have to do what? I have to do work. So you're telling me that in order for me to make money in real estate wholesaling, I have to work? This work right here scare people off. I don't want to work. I thought all you do is you drive in front of a house, okay? And then you call the homeowner, and the homeowner will say, yes, I'll sell you the house, and I'll get a contract, and I'll make $10,000 tomorrow. This is literally the mindset of most people, because what they're looking at, they're always looking for that get-rich-quick scheme, right? There's no such thing. There's no such thing unless you go to Vegas and gamble and then lose your money, right? And so this is what I call the person that their mindset is more of a cop-out mechanism. It's not that they care about taking advantage of somebody. They don't care. They use it as an excuse. Oh, it's taking advantage of homeowners. It's scamming people, so I don't want to do it at all. I'm not even going to try. That right there is nobody can help them. Not God. I don't care who you worship. Nobody can help them. So that one, we're going to put it on the side. We're not even going to address the people that are using that as a cop-out mechanism. So let's assume that you are one of those that is truly, truly sincere. You're truly sincere, right? So you're like, I don't even know what I'm drawing right now, guys. This is supposed to be a human being, okay? This is supposed to be a wholesaler, okay? Or an aspiring wholesaler, okay? And you truly care. So you truly care about helping people, because, guys, when you get into real estate, any kind of business, actually, I don't care if you study Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, the first thing first, any business, unless you're solving a problem, you're not going to make money. So that's the first thing I need you to understand. When you get into real estate, you are solving problems. Unless you're a problem solver, you're absolutely not going to make money. Now, how you solve that problem can vary, depending on your skill, depending on your financials where you are, depending on your experience. So if you're just starting by wholesaling, all you're doing is you're solving problems for two kind of people. You're solving problems, and we're going to go over what those problems are, because, guys, there is a saying in real estate, is that every house tells a story. Every house tells a story. Every single check, every single property we've ever closed on and got paid on it, okay? And today I'll tell you guys about one of those properties, which is one of my first deals, and you'll see how sad the story of the homeowner is. I'm not gonna give her real name. This is in Kettonsville, Maryland. And you'll be like, oh my God, this is actually a responsibility. Me calling these people, me following up, me sending the text messages, me negotiating, me holding their hands up to the closing table is actually my responsibility. So you are helping the homeowner who's in distress, and then guess who else you're helping? The guy that we call the cash buyer. This person right here have cash. You know what they don't have? Time. You know what they don't have? What they don't have is time. They don't have the time to do what you have the time to do. Because they have money, they can buy time with their money. So they don't have time. They're too busy managing their crews, going to walk their current renovation projects, going buy materials, dealing with, all sort of headaches in their own business on the field. But guess what they have is money. So because they have money, they don't have the time, but they can buy the time. That's why they can pay you, because you have the time and you don't have the money. You can find these opportunities for them. You can find houses that needs renovation, or even if it doesn't need renovation, but at least they can keep it as a buy and hold and provide affordable housing for people, right? And so you here, all you're doing is, one, you find a homeowner, you solve a problem for that homeowner, then you solve a problem for this guy because he doesn't have the time to do what you're doing, which is calling the people, texting them, following up, right? Dealing with the title companies, putting these properties under contract, dealing with the paperwork, then sending it to them, then dealing with everything that comes along with closing on a real estate transaction. You have the time, so they need you and they need you. So the homeowner needs you and the cash buyer needs you. Okay? And let's go through the stories, guys. So that's the first thing. I want you to know this is a responsibility to help homeowners. Guys, just today alone, we have a property on the market in California. This property is worth somewhere around maybe like $850,000 after it's completely fixed up. This homeowner have been trying to work with her realtor. She's facing foreclosure, meaning she's about to lose her home to auction because she hasn't paid, right, her mortgage for a while because of some financial issues and family issues. She lost her husband, then lost her job. She can't afford a home anymore, so she want to move on to a cheaper home. She tried to work with a realtor. They could not perform, they could not sell the home. She tried to work with other investors that have less experience and they could not help her. That house is facing foreclosure, guys, tomorrow. tomorrow. As I'm making this video, my team is busy on the phone trying to help this homeowner avoid auction tomorrow. We got creative on that deal. Using creative finance, we're able to help her. We already got a buyer in place that already signed a contract to buy the home, and they're willing to put down $30,000, right, as earnest money deposits, guys. I made a whole playlist explaining all these concepts, so make sure you check it out on this channel. Even the creative finance playlist, make sure you check it out so you can see what kind of strategies I am talking about. But guys, we're saving this homeowner out of foreclosure and helping her not lose her home and then destroy completely her credit that she already don't have a good one, right? And so you'll start seeing why is a responsibility. So guys, what do I mean by every home tells a story? Okay, what do I mean by every home tells a story? What are the typical homeowner? Okay, what are the typical homeowner, guys, that you're reaching out when you are looking for real estate wholesaling opportunities? You're reaching out to homeowners like this lady we're dealing with right now in California, homeowners that are facing foreclosure. Facing foreclosure means the lender is trying to take the home or whoever they owe money to because they haven't paid for a minute. Okay, guys? Or you have people that maybe it's probates. Probates is when somebody passed away and then they leave an asset, but the people that are inheriting their estate don't have the money to keep up with the property, and so now they're in financial distress. They're like, hey, I already have my home, my dad or my aunt or my mom just passed away, or my sister, it doesn't really matter, and I don't have the money to take care of 2 homes. Not only that, I have my life. I have a 9 to 5, I have my kids, or I have my life, whatever they got going on. And they don't want to be landlords. They don't want to keep the home and rent it and deal with toilet leaks and tenants calling them at midnight and complaining. So for them, this is a headache. That's what we call a probate, right? So you have those kind of homeowners. You have homeowners that we call tired landlords. These are homeowners that typically they self-manage their rentals for a while. And now, guess what? They're completely tired and don't want to deal with tenants anymore. They're sick and tired of tenants, toilet leaks, roofs leaking, always having to renovate the properties. Maybe they bought it at the wrong location, whatever the case may be, or maybe they're just old. Like, hey, you know what? I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm old now. I just want to retire. We call that a tired landlord. So there's so many of them. Vacant properties. There's properties that are vacant. People bought a property and, initially they wanted to renovate it and then resell it for a profit. Then they ended up giving up on that for whatever reason, right? Life happens. They've moved on to bigger things or whatever the case may be. They don't need the property anymore. These are the kind of homeowners you're calling and negotiating with to get these properties under contract in the first place. So we don't waste our time calling anybody who don't have what, guys? A problem. We don't waste time calling anyone who don't have a problem. We don't waste time calling anybody who don't have what we call problems. You want to focus on homeowners that have problems. Why? Because I started by saying you are a problem solver. Right? So they have to have a problem. They have to either have a divorce, they have to have a foreclosure, something for you to solve. It's never about the house. No homeowner will sign a contract with you because of the house. It's always what problem are you solving for them personally in their private life, and that's what we're going to get into. This is why I say every house tells a story. So I have a property in Catonsville. This is one of the first properties that I've wholesaled. This is Catonsville, Maryland. Okay, guys? This is Catonsville, MD. And I'm not going to give the real name of the homeowner, right? Let's just call her, Mary. Okay, she is a she, so we're gonna call her Mary. So the first time that I reached out to Mary, so she was an absentee owner. She was what we call an absentee owner. I made I think 19,500 assigning that contract. Okay, she's what we call an absentee owner. What that means is she doesn't live in the home. Okay, so absentee owner. So typically, these kind of homeowners, they've bought the property and they don't live there, so they're most likely a landlord. Okay? The first time I got in touch with Mary is by text message. So first she was on my list. I called her, she wasn't picking up. Then I started sending the text message. Then she responded. She said, yes, I am interested in selling my property. If you can give me $78,000, 78K, right? If you can give me $78,000. I'm gonna write that down here, boom. So she said, Mamadou, if you can give me $78,000, I can sell it to you. This is through text message, guys. And I was like, okay, when is a good time to get on the phone? Why do we need to get on the phone? Because I need to know what the condition of the property is to determine if the $78,000 makes sense. Not only that, I need to know what her motivation for selling is. Because remember, unless she has a problem, I'm wasting my time. And so that's the reason why you typically want to get these homeowners on the phone as soon as you can to see if they have any problem you can solve. And so I noticed that she is absolutely adamant about talking on the phone. She just wants to text. And that was weird to me, right? Because typically homeowners don't mind jumping on the phone with you and saying, hey, unless you want to give me my price, if they're not motivated, right? And they're just wasting time, we call them tire kickers, guys. Don't waste time with it. There's nothing, if there's no problems, move on, okay? So, I was like, Mary, why don't you want to jump on the phone, right? And then she blacked that number. Guess what I did, guys? I went and called her with a different number. I just called with a different number. She picked up once, we talked like for 5 minutes, and she was like, hey, I already told you I want to sell the home for $78,000 if you can do that. She didn't even want to tell me the condition of the home, and she said, I just want to talk through text message. So I persisted. So I started asking her these questions about the condition of the property, slowly, through text message. I said, okay, hey, listen, I don't know if I can do the $78,000, but how about you tell me what's going on with the home? She said, well, I don't live there and I have a tenant. Okay, then I started asking things like, okay, when is the last time you saw it? What do you think the condition is? Is the tenant paying on time? All these questions, and then she blocked me again. She blocked the second number. And what I had to do now, so at the time, guys, I was living in my brother's basement, literally. That's where my journey started through wholesaling, right? I went and took my niece's phone, cell phone, and I started retexting her, and this time I started texting her with a different name. I used the name Tony. Why did I use the name Tony? Because at this point she already blocked me twice. So if I had given her the name that she was talking to, guess what? She was not going to talk to me. And so I used the name Tony. The only advantage that Tony had was that because it was still me, I already knew all the initial information that she gave me. She won $78,000. She have a tenant in the house. He was paying X. I forgot what he was paying at the time. And then she hasn't seen it for a while because she can't even get access to the property. And I was able to convince her that, listen, I'm not going to waste your time. By the way, guys, this is back in 2019 in the middle of COVID. At the time, we barely had the right to go walk a property. We barely had the right to go walk inside a property. You have to wear your mask and all this like kind of crap. So we already had that issue. And then it was just my gut feeling is telling me this lady is hiding something. At first I thought she was hiding the condition. Or she's a tire kicker. But here's what Tony did. I said, listen, I might be able to make the $78,000 work if you're willing to meet me at the property just once. I want to see it only once. Right? If I see it once, if I can make it work, I'll tell you right there and I'll commit to that number. And if I can't make it work, then you can just move on and say, F you, like I'm gonna stop texting you. Guys, as a newbie, how did I have this confidence? It's because right from the beginning, I understood because I don't have the money, obviously I am not the end buyer. So I have to build a relationship with cash buyers from day one. From day one, I have to talk to people that have money that will buy my contracts. And so when I'm talking to this kind of homeowner, I can go to them with confidence, knowing full well I already have 1 or 2 people that are interested in this area. That's why I was that confident to meet her and commit to that number, because I had spoken to my cash buyer and my cash buyer already told me that, hey, depending on the condition, that number might work. Okay? Now, my intention was if I meet Mary at the door, I am absolutely not going in and walking that property. I'm not interested. My goal was because I can't get her to open up and talk to me on the phone, I will do it in person. Why, guys? Because in person, she can see my face. She knows I'm real, right? She can see my body language. She can tell if I'm sincere, if I'm not sincere, if I truly want to buy a home, if I'm really here to solve her problems, right? Because at this point, I started like, if she's entertaining, I started thinking, if she's entertaining this conversation, there has to be something. Because if there is nothing, she was just, like typically tire kickers, they'll just stop answering your phone and say, F you, I don't want to sell my house. You're calling me, there is no sign on my yard. This kind of like things, or maybe the house is worth like $100,000 and they want to sell it for $250,000. That's the signs that they have zero motivation, don't waste your time. But this lady, I could tell, my gut feeling was telling me, this lady not only have a motivation, right, but she has a problem I can solve. And I was absolutely right. When I met Mary at the door, I said, hey, listen. So I pulled up, parked. When she came, I said, listen, I don't want to walk the property. Because unless we're a good fit, me walking the property and seeing the condition is not going to do me any good, right? So for some reason, you're very hesitant and you only want to talk through text message. So I'm here. Now you see me. Now you know I'm real, okay? And you can ask me any questions that you want. But let's talk here. Literally, guys, we sat there in front of the cars and started talking. I say, hey, why do you even want to sell this home? Because it sounds like this is a rental for you, right? So if you bought it, that means you wanted to, invest in real estate in some way, shape, or form. And so I started asking her questions, and then she started opening up because this was in person, face to face. Face to face, guys. There's no better rapport. One of the ways we find houses, guys, whether to be flip or wholesale or, keep us buy and holds, is door knocking. Some of my team members, they go out and actually knock on doors of homeowners that are facing foreclosure. We help them out of foreclosure. And then, maybe like 2 out of 5 end up selling their homes to us. Okay? And so that face-to-face, you cannot build a better rapport, than that. Somebody that is on the phone talking to a homeowner and you're talking to them in front of their face, you will always be able to build way more rapport with that homeowner. All right? Now, so she started opening up and she was like, no, actually, I am an accidental landlord. I said, what do you mean by I'm an accidental landlord? She said, well, I didn't want to be a landlord. This property used to belong to my brother who passed away. I inherited the property. I didn't know what to do at the time. I lived in it for a minute. Then I moved out because I was, for whatever reason. And then I just didn't know what to do. So I just ended up renting it in the meantime until I decided if I want to sell it or not. So first thing first is she lost a brother who left the property. She inherited the property. Okay. So she has some sort of emotional attachment to the property. That's the first thing. That's the reason why she kept it. She really didn't want to be a landlord. She just kept it like, this is my brother's only memory that I still have. So let me just keep it. Let me rent it. Accidental landlord, she's never rented a property before. She didn't even know how to draw up a lease. She had to figure it out. That's the first thing. Second thing is, she told me, Mamadou, is I have a tenant in this house and my tenant haven't paid me. It's been, I think, a year or two. Her tenant haven't paid rent. It's been a year or two that her tenant is in the negative, not paying. So she has a non-paying tenant. Not only she has a non-paying tenant, this is Catonsville, Maryland, blue state. What I mean by blue state is that they're very tenant friendly. It's way harder to evict somebody in this area. And so she's been trying to evict this tenant forever. And she can't even get an appointment because number one, like I said, it was in the middle of COVID. Number two, every single time, right, they give her an appointment to go to court to get this tenant out who's not paying rent. The day of the appointment or the day before, the county end up postponing the appointment. So it's been 2 years they're playing that game. She can't get access to the property, even to inspect the property. Two, she can't even get an appointment to evict the tenant. Number three, guess what else? She discovered, I don't know how she discovered this, but she discovered that her initial tenant, who's already not paying her, forged. So this was a two bedroom, 1 bath, okay? That non-paying tenant forged a lease and then rented the second room, right? She rented the second room to another tenant, like it was her own house. She forged the lease, the initial lease that she had. She forged Mary, the owner's signature. And here's the mistake that tenant made, is that she rented this. So she used to be like she used to be an attic. and she rented this second room to the person that was selling her what she needs for her addiction, essentially. That kind of crazy story, right? And here's what happens, guys. Now they're living together. The guy that she rented that second room to ended up becoming an abusive individual. So he ended up starting beating up the tenant inside the home. So now it became a domestic violence type of thing. Not only that, what the homeowner discovered by searching that individual's name online is that he was a sexual offender. He was actually listed online as a sexual offender. And the homeowner lived maybe somewhere around like 7 minutes from the rental. She was fearful for her life. Like literally, that's how she was shaking. She was like, listen, I don't want this guy to see me. I don't want him to know my real name because I don't live far from the property, and he's already made threats to me once because I was trying to get access to the property to inspect the property. He said if I ever come back here again, he will do X and X. And every single time she's called the police, guess what the police says? Because the guy has a lease and he's paying a bill inside that house, you have to take him to court even though he's not an initial tenant and the initial tenant forged the lease. Are you guys hearing me? So I was the only one. Mary told me, Mamadou, she called me Tony, obviously. She still called me Tony today, by the way. I'll show you guys. She literally texted me. This is like 2019, guys. This homeowner is still texting me because there was something happening with the buyer that bought the property from me. Let me see. So you guys know I'm not making it up. Look at this, guys. Look at this. This is her. This is her text message. Literally not even a day ago. We're still in touch. And up to today, she still called me Tony. All right, guys? As she was explaining this to me, I'm like, okay, I got to help this lady. I don't care if I don't make a penny out of this property. I got to help her. And so she said, Tony, you're the only one, number one, that was willing to set up the face-to-face appointment with me. Everybody just wanted to make me an offer online and then have me signed, through DocuSign, whatever. And she wasn't going for it. And everybody also was offering lower than the 78 she was asking. Okay, guys? That's the first thing. Second thing, when she explained it to me, I said, listen, here's what I'm going to do. Because even if we call the police, there's nothing that's going to happen. I will call some of my buddies, because I don't know who this guy is. I'll call some of my investor friends from Baltimore. We'll come here, 3 of us. We'll knock on the door and talk to him in a friendly manner. Just have a conversation and then see if we can at least get access to the property and inspect it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you find, I'm not going to be the buyer, but I'm going to help you find somebody who's going to buy the property and is going to deal with this headache, who's willing basically to close with these 2 individuals inside the house and then deal with it afterwards. But you're going to have to be willing to take a steep discount in order to solve that problem, which she was willing to. At this point, guys, in person, we've built such a great rapport, and then we kept talking. I came back, knocked on this door. This guy came out screaming and yelling and cussing. The police had to come out. Anyway, I'm not gonna put a lot of that story in here on this video, but guys, imagine, think about this. Imagine if I just because she was hesitant to talk, I just completely gave up on her. I didn't follow up. I didn't persist. I didn't set up that, in-person appointment. I cannot tell you guys how grateful she was. Up to today, she don't even know how I solved that problem. One day I just called her and said, hey, they left. Both, 2 of them left. It took us maybe like 4 months to make it happen, to close on this property. But guess what? We didn't give up on it. We kept our promise, right? She ended up making, I forgot how much she made. Maybe somewhere around, I don't know, 30 grand. I completely forgot how much she made. I made $19,000, $500 just assigning it with a joint venture partner of mine. Okay, I sold it to a cash buyer who knew the area, who kind of know the people in that area and didn't mind dealing with none of these headaches. But we managed to get this, tenants out anyway before he closed on the property. And I structured it also as a creative finance deal because I ended up finding out that she even owed way too much on her mortgage for a cash offer to work in the first place. You see, guys? So after this, Not this is just one story, guys. I can give you guys dozens and dozens and dozens of stories that are even sadder than this. We have homeowners that literally had in New Jersey, her mom, her son got killed inside the property. That's how she became a distressed homeowner. So guys, it is absolutely 100% a responsibility of yours when you call in these distressed homeowners to solve their problem, because their problem have nothing to do with the house. You think you're talking about a house. You're not talking about a house. You solve their personal problem. Then as a result, you get a contract for the house. Then if you're not the buyer because you don't have the money, you sell that contract to a cash buyer whom also you're solving a problem for, because he doesn't have the time, as I already explained. Now he gets a product that he can renovate, sell for a profit, feed his family. Not only that, guys, guess what that cash buyer also will do? He will give jobs to individuals that will come in and do the renovations. Somebody will come and do the HVAC. Somebody will come and do the roof. Somebody will come and do the flooring. Somebody will do the paint. All those people will get paid to feed their families as well. And he will beautify a property for the neighborhood as well. So are you taking advantage, or are you solving problems as a real estate wholesaler? And I promise you, most of the homeowners you are going to help, realtors, will not be able to help them. Can you believe with a lady like Mary, I almost said her real name. Can you believe that the realtors, every realtor she's talked to list her home, was telling her, fix this, fix that, get the tenants out, do this, do that. She barely have money to keep up with the mortgage. Not only that, she's fearful of her life, and you're asking her to fix something. Can you imagine if a wholesaler never called her? You think a real estate agent could have helped her? Never. Real estate agents, they just complain. They just hate, because as a wholesaler, you learn one thing that real estate agents don't learn in school is marketing and sales. You call homeowners, you negotiate, you follow up, you persist, you help solve problems that like you buy beat up properties, like properties that don't have a roof. Realtors don't want to do all that. They don't want to do all that. They just want a referral to fall on their lap. Most of them are not even professional enough to pick up their phone, even if they have a listing that has been on the market for 6 months. So for them, it's just complaining. But you that is starting as a newbie, or you're just watching and you wish you could start, and you're sitting there thinking that somebody's taking advantage of somebody, guys, it's just a different perspective. It's a mindset issue that you have. So change your perspective, change the way you look at things, and things will change. And remember, most of these homeowners, when you talk about equity, they don't even have that equity you're talking about. They don't even have it until the house is fixed up. That's what you also don't understand. If a homeowner owns a property that, if it's fully fixed up, is worth $300,000, but it needs $90,000 worth of work in order for that house to now be worth, $300,000, do they really have equity? If you don't know what equity is basically the money that the seller will walk away, the homeowner will walk away with in their pockets after all the fees that is involved with selling a real estate, with selling a home, a real estate deal. So until the house is fixed up, do they even have that equity? They absolutely don't. So if you're buying it as is, it's normal that you have to get it at a discount, to where if you or your end buyer spend money into the property and they resell it, they can also make a little bit of something. There is nobody in real estate, unless they're there's probably some idiots, but unless they're complete idiots, there's nobody in real estate looking to get rich or expecting to get rich off of one property. It's impossible. The average profits that a fix and flipper makes on a home in terms of profit, I'm talking about net profit with all the risk involved, guys, is between 10 to 12%. So if you sell a home at $300,000, the goal of a fix and flipper, typically a traditional fix and flipper, is to make 10% of the $300,000 or 12% of that. If you make more, then it's like, okay, they've went above and beyond, they've added some square footage, right? Or they got lucky. Like we call them one-hit wonders. All right, guys? So most of these trains of thoughts, that you're thinking taking advantage of people or whatever the case may be is either one, if you're a homeowner, it's like, have you ever tried to date somebody who had a lot of, heartbreaks, been through a lot of divorce, and they're always projecting their bad experiences into their next relationship? That's what that is oftentimes. It's like a homeowner already got taken advantage of by one investor or maybe two, because obviously there's some bad apples. And now they think every investor is like that because they put them in the same bucket. Yeah, you might be justified, but also you're not justified. You are and you're not, if that kind of makes sense, right? It's the same thing for you. Who's aspiring to become a real estate wholesaler. Maybe you're thinking this way because maybe one of your parents one time was trying to sell a home and they got taken advantage of by somebody, and you're still bitter about that. So you're holding on to this, like, the same way somebody go through a breakup and they go, now every man or every woman and shit because I went through a breakup, and every single time they meet somebody they go, oh, I know you're gonna cheat on me anyway just because their ex cheated on them. That's the exact mindset. All right, guys, let me know if you got any value out of this video. Like the video, leave a comment below. Let me know if you want me to expand on anything, guys. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Boom, boom, boom.